Hi, this is Miracle, and after reviewing my video that I created, I realized that I was super passionate and a lot of my points didn't come out until the end of it, and so I decided to calmly tell you the point of this whole thing in the beginning so as to not get misconstrued. So this is an addendum, if you would. In actuality, I am not excusing the behaviors that are shown by Shane Dawson, especially over the last 15 years. In fact, all the people who are currently holding him accountable, I actually commend you for doing so because he's gotten away with this behavior for many years, and this is something that he has been avoiding facing. However, this apology is for one thing and one thing only. The internet has gone too far, and holding his childhood sexual trauma over his head and under a microscope is deplorable. And I don't know why people feel inclined to compare their stories of assault, because this is not a competition. You are all survivors. We are all survivors, and you should not do that to Shane Dawson. So now that I've made that clear, and hopefully people will not misconstrue this in the future, go ahead and watch this video and let me know what your thoughts are down below. And again, Shane Dawson, I am sorry that people are looking at your trauma when clearly you were not taken care of in the sense that you were protected, and unfortunately you did not have the proper coping mechanisms into your adulthood. And this is why we are seeing what we're seeing now.
Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today is something a little bit more serious, and this has been weighing on my mind heavily for the last couple of days. However, after what I saw this morning, it really and truly grated me, and it caused something to fester within me, and it caused a visceral reaction that I was not expecting. And so I decided to have this conversation with you all. If for whatever reason Shane Dawson ever gets to see this video clip, I want to tell him that I am sorry. Whew. As you know, Shane Dawson has acquired for himself a rather terrible track record over the last 15 years. And as you well know, a lot of people have been compiling all of those videos, especially when it comes to racial insensitivities, and it leaves a lot to be desired. At this point in time, I have not seen any personal growth, and I still have the expectation that he is going to do whatever he can to be able to rectify this situation to the best means possible. But this video is mainly for the second portion of what he is being crucified for. That has everything to do with possible endangerment of minors. I'm really nervous about this conversation. And this nervousness comes from me withholding, or rather holding back from exploding, because I'm disgusted with the behavior that I have been seeing from a lot of people on social media currently, especially with creators that have a space on this platform, and their hypocrisy is truly deplorable, especially when you put that in line with how terrible these activities are, especially in line with how you claim, and there are certain creators that come to mind, how some individuals have claimed that this was the same problematic and detrimental behavior that ended up putting James Charles in the current position that we find him in right now. Here's the thing. You and I do not know if Shane has ever put anyone in a very uncomfortable position. And if you do have any sort of reservations, I'm imploring you guys, let that be handled by the proper authorities. This is not something for YouTube. And I'm specifically thinking about one individual, Sanders Kennedy, that is really grating on my last nerve, because he more than anybody else, has been spending a special, exuberant amount of time and effort and making it known that he is especially dedicated to this particular situation on his social media. This is the part where I think that Sanders Kennedy is full of He is full of it. And it stems from the fact that Sanders has taken it upon himself to decide. He has put himself in this position to look into Shane Dawson, and then he has the nerve to say that because this sort of thing is compounding heavily upon me and it's weighing me down and it's causing me emotional and mental distress, I had to reach out to a medical professional to psychologically evaluate me and continue on with a therapeutic discourse. He ended up seeking out a therapist to be able to help him continue creating content with things that are on mere hearsay. I want everyone to really sit back and understand what is actually happening. Yes, we see a lot of disgusting videos. Shane Dawson has made a terrible decision to make disgusting jokes, and no one can ever take away from that. And I really and truly hope that he has not actually done some of the things that he has joked about. But as it stands right now, we need to focus in on the facts. But this is what caused this rage, this unbridled rage to fill inside of me. And it came with the last video that Sanders Kennedy ended up sharing on his platform. And I can't just blame him because he's not the one who looked for the video. So the individual who looked at the video, listened to that content, and then decided to start to create a narrative around that, that's where I have the problem. When it comes to children who have been harmed at a young age, if you are not a medical professional, do not spectate on what happens when people are abused. Don't do that. That is not your place. I'm quite frankly livid at the fact that someone who is a survivor is taking the time to say and throw in somebody else's face the fact that they didn't end up in the head. Let's just talk about science right now. There is a significant difference between child onset trauma versus adult onset trauma. The things that end up following, the side effects, may significantly differ. A child's mind is not fully developed in the sense where they know how to deal with that trauma. And so in turn, they may act out and end up displaying those same things done onto themselves. I am not for this current means in which people have decided to paint Shane Dawson out to be a sexual deviant without any sort of actual evidence. Please don't be like Sanders Kennedy. Shane Dawson, I am sorry, because right now there are thousands of people now criticizing you and holding your trauma under a microscope. And I want you guys to really and truly think. I'm going to simplify this. Being an abused individual, already a lot of people feel like they are different. You are essentially telling Shane Dawson, and I'm speaking for fellow abuse victims, you sitting there and saying, well, I have experienced this and I never did that. Okay, well, you know what you're telling Shane Dawson? That Shane Dawson, you were extra and there's something significantly wrong for you because somebody else, some jackass, was the one who put you through that trauma in the first place and made you different. And I want you to understand what you are doing. You need to stop. This is real life. There are potential survivors involved. There might not be any survivors because no crime has been committed. Understand what you are doing, because if Shane Dawson leaves this earth because of what side of sickness is coming out of the internet, then I want you to internalize that. I want you to. Because it's so easy to sit behind a computer and point out a problem, but what are you doing to make a difference? Sanders Kennedy, fuck you. You have the ability to make a difference on your platform and you're not doing it. So I hope that you get it together, because this sort of thing where you're like, oh, I'm so upset about this sort of situation, which you could be, but I'm not gonna sit there and really believe you if you're sitting here and monetizing on it. Shane Dawson, I am truly sorry that this is happening to you right now. I still think you did some effed up stuff, but this is not okay. And I hope you know that some people are hoping that you find your peace and you don't do anything detrimental to your health.